Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I'm honored to be connecting in with you. And can you believe it is almost New Year's Eve? Oh my goodness, the year has gone by so quickly. And I'm looking back and I just feel like the year kind of accelerated as we got closer and closer to the later part of the year. And as we're looking ahead at the new year, it's a great opportunity to really check in and make sure that we're allowing ourselves opportunities to be present, to be purposeful, to be mindful. As we look at the new year starting, are we stepping closer to our purpose, more in alignment with it? Are we stepping into our destiny, to what we are looking to bring forward? It's so easy to kind of fall into the patterns of what we've always done and just kind of continue to always do what we've always done. And here's an opportunity as we reflect on 2021 and we look ahead at 2022, how are we choosing to be in that? What are we paying attention to? What are we bringing forward? And I'm just honored that you have chosen now as an opportunity and a time for us to connect, to pour into you. And as we start to lean into the conversation today, I want to encourage you to be still, to take a deep breath, that this is an opportunity for you to be poured into, that you get to receive, be recharged. You can take off the doing hat that we have so often, the busyness, all the things that are maybe pulling at us, and really carve out this time for you. And I know that this is going to be a really special show because you're here, because you're connecting in. And therefore, I know there's something here for you, perfectly designed to support you on your journey. Welcome. Thrilled and honored to have all of you joining us as we connect in heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And let's take another one of those deep breaths in through the nose, all the way to your toes. Beautiful. And just mindfully, purposely slow down a little bit. Get comfortable in your chair. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and really be open to receive as you keep breathing. Really feel that oxygen filling your body. Releasing as you breathe out all that has served but no longer is needed as we look forward to moving into the next year, creating room and space for all that you are becoming, are wanting to be, or are looking forward to bringing forward. Beautiful. So let's put both our hands on our heart, taking another breath in through the nose, out through the mouth like through a straw. Close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. And what is it that you need today? What is it that will encourage you, support you, empower you? What do you need today to help you step into your purpose, your passion, your destiny? I hope you feel it pulling at you. What is it you need that you are willing to receive, because you absolutely have choice? And just see, what is it that you need and are willing to receive real time? Beautiful. Let's take another breath. Come back into the room, eyes open, fully present. Take a moment to write down what was laid on your heart that you need and are willing to receive. Let's start to co-create it, to bring it forward, have it be alive and interacting with us. Writing it down starts that the writing process with your hand connects directly to your heart. It's amazing what you can start to create simply by writing it down, making it real, keeping it top of mind. Beautiful. We're going to go around our virtual room, and as we do so, I invite you to lean in and reflect on what our amazing guest had laid on her heart as well. So, Sue, what was laid on your heart?
Oh, thank you, Rebecca. So it was actually interesting. What I saw were champagne bubbles being released.
Nice.
And what came to me about it was releasing, it's receiving the ability to let go what was trapped, that no longer serves me.
Beautiful.
And so it was just this stream of bubbles. It's like, yes, go out into the world. I don't need to have them anymore.
I love that. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I think what a beautiful thing, whether you are a sparkling cider drinker or a champagne drinker or other beverage, that I was thinking every time you see those bubbles, what a beautiful thing to think on and reflect on and just visualize that release. And bubbles are kind of beautiful and gentle how they release and then pop into the world. So just seeing that, allowing the avenue to release what is no longer serving, what might be trapped gets to be released lovingly out into the world and create space for more of what you do want to bring forward or have in your life. I love that. I was sitting.
Bubbles make me giggle.
Oh, see, it brings some happiness and joy, too. I love that. I know they make me smile. So that's beautiful, beautiful. So listeners, what did you see? What did you feel as you took a moment to reflect in and think about it? I know for me, I had images go through my head around sunflowers. I recently saw the Immersion Van Gogh experience, and his sunflowers kind of really stuck with me. And I have a picture of sunflowers here, and one of the covers that we did on one of our magazines had a sunflower with sunglasses on it. And that they were it was shining so bright, it had to wear shades. And so I was kind of thinking about sunflowers and how we all have this opportunity to shine and to step forward and really face all, with excitement, with anticipation, all that is coming in a brand new year. And so that's kind of what was bubbling, so to speak, up in me as I was taking a moment to stop and reflect. And listeners, I'd love for you to just see what bubbled up in you as you took a moment to stop and reflect and listen. And we'll look forward to continuing our conversation in just 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes, that opportunity to be still and reflect on what was laid on your heart. Perhaps the champagne bubbles really impacted you and created some great thoughts, or the sunflowers, or looking ahead at 2022 and beyond, and just taking a moment to, I think, acknowledge and celebrate. I think that champagne also has a celebratory feel as well. What all that was in 2021 and release, all that needs to be released as you get ready to step into 2022. And I'm very excited to have our amazing guest today, who is going to really help us look at where are we perhaps stuck or getting stuck, and how can we really get unstuck and move forward to really fulfill our purpose and our destiny. And this is a perfect time of year to reflect on that and really get empowered as we look forward to stepping into January and beyond. So let me introduce our amazing guest. So Sue Wilhite, after rocketing to the top of her career in IT in just 6 short years, she had a healing crisis that changed her life and focus. She is now a 2-time #1 international best-selling author, a gold medal award-winning host, and a law of attraction coach, as well as a certified biofield tuning practitioner. She is passionate about getting her clients unstuck and encouraging them to fulfill their destinies. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful and dynamic Sue Wilhite to the show. Welcome.
Woo!
Woo!
Thank you, Rebecca. Woo! This is great.
Great. You are so welcome. If you picture our hands raised up as we welcome you to the stage. So this is exciting.
Yeah.
And it is when we're talking about really stepping into our purpose, to our destiny, and being empowered to fulfill that. I think that's exciting. So I'm just thrilled to have you joining us today. I'm looking forward to the conversation. And I wanted to start with why. Why is this work of helping people do this? Why is that personally so important to you?
Well, like many women, Rebecca, my family tried to make me into something that I wasn't. And my mom tried to dress me in girly dresses and tried to put me on paths that she actually installed a fear of math in me. Mm-hmm. And so from doing a lot of work, I realized that many times our families have given us what they think of as our destiny when it's not really ours. And it's so important for people to know who they are and what they're really, really here to do, which is not limited to one thing, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
It's your destiny. Right. It's your destiny. It's not your family's destiny. You know, it's like a family who, you know, everybody is expected to be a doctor or a lawyer or a grocer or a chiropractor or, you know, you're supposed to do this because you're in this family situation. Well, not necessarily.
Beautiful.
If it floats your boat, great. But no, I rebelled early on.
Well, and I'm curious about this. So what was it like, or how did you, Let me, I have so many questions floating around my head. Let me rephrase that. And we'll start with, how did you recognize this wasn't your destiny and then shifted into what is? And what did that do for you? I mean, did it change? What did it change for you to move from what isn't your destiny to what is? And how did you recognize it wasn't? And what changed by making it your destiny and claiming that?
Okay. 3 good questions. Thank you. So what it looked like was I wanted to do something that helped animals, actually, at first. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to help heal. That was my first impulse that I recognized when I was 8 years old. And my parents were like, no, you need to be, you know, thinking about being a secretary like your mom and going into, you know, office work and doing that. And from 8 years old, I was like, nope, that's not what I'm going to do. I want to help. I want to heal. This is what I'm going to do. And I set my focus on going to the University of California at Davis for college, because that was not only a local school, but it was the best in the West, as it were. I'm a San Francisco gal. And that was indeed the only college that I applied to. I got accepted, even though, and this is going to blow people away, and maybe I shouldn't out the university this way. But I got into the University of California at Davis with a 3.0 grade point average. 3.0. And if you know anything about the SAT scores, a perfect SAT score is 1,600. And that's pretty much what people aim for. And, kids have meltdowns when they get 1,590 because they're not going to get accepted to their school. I got into college with a solid 1,250.
So a couple of things here. I love that you, set your course. So you were clear. You knew what was you, what wasn't you. That you pursued it, and you got that position. That opportunity to go to UC Davis, despite some of those things that maybe isn't the normal path for people to be accepted, and you were. And so, how did this lead to your healing crisis? What happened there that changed your destiny? Those types of things. I'd love to share some of that. I love that you were so clear that you recognized what wasn't you and what was you, and that you pursued that. I'd love to know a little bit more of that. Yeah.
Well, this is one of the things that I tell my clients, that having this kind of a clear focus and going for it isn't necessarily getting you to the end result. It's getting you to a step along the way. And I ended up failing all my science courses because my mother installed a math phobia in me. And so even though I got the science, I understood the concepts just fine, I couldn't do the work. And I ended up changing my major. And then spring quarter of my senior year, I discovered basic programming. And that lit my brain up. And I pursued programming. And a very short time after I got my first job in IT, I ended up being an IT manager. I got promotion after promotion, raise after raise, just boom, 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 boom. And I discovered that I had this talent that I had no idea. And of course, nobody in my family was going to say, oh yeah, go off and be a programmer, because it really didn't exist when I was growing up. Right? So I got to experience finding something, stumbling upon something that changed my whole life and led to a healing crisis. As an IT manager, I ended up having an ulcer because my whole focus was about helping people get their jobs done quicker, better, more efficiently, and the stress that I put on myself for that was immense. And so I ended up with an ulcer and discovered hypnotherapy, stumbled across hypnotherapy in the process. And I went to a hypnotherapy demo, and at the end of the demonstration, I didn't have an ulcer anymore.
Wow.
And I went, that's what I want to do. And that started me, okay, we need to back it up, not just allowing people to do their jobs quicker and better and more efficiently. Let's make the person better at who they are and who they really want to be. And maybe the issue isn't that they're not getting their reports on time or it's not the right report. Maybe they're doing the wrong job.
Powerful. Thank you for sharing. And a quick question I have around this is you were very clear at, just as you've shared some of your journey, at recognizing that's the thing to pursue next. How did you know that? What was something that you recognized that's the thing?
For me, it's almost a whole body experience. Mm-hmm. I feel it sort of coming up from my gut through my heart. I feel a warmth going through my heart, and it's like my vision shifts and changes, and there's like light everywhere.
Beautiful.
And so in all of the things that I've encountered, that I've stumbled across and went, oh, that, it's like this whole fountain just goes through my body, and it's right.
Beautiful. And you just, and you know, and you don't question. You just know that that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, we are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do that, is there something that you would encourage our listeners to feel into about either recognizing that maybe this is the thing or something to ask themselves over the next couple of minutes? What would you encourage them to reflect on?
Well, listen to the signals that your body is giving you, because that's the number one best signals that you're going to get. Mm-hmm. Just pay attention to them. You may not need to take action, but you need to pay attention.
And can these be things like, just for people that this may be new for, what are some of the things they can, is it a discomfort or a tightness, or like you, it sounded like there was an ulcer? What are some of the things we should feel into or pay attention to that our body might be sharing with us?
Oh, yes. Headaches, backaches, stomach aches, heart aches. You might want to look at your posture and just notice, are you hunching your shoulders, or are you leaning, kind of curled in? Are you dragging your feet? There's a ton of signals that can happen. Your knees, your feet could have problems. Knees and feet actually are where you're not moving forward, where you could be. And pain and suffering in your knees and feet and hips are big clues.
Beautiful. Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just felt like for some of us, we may classify those things differently and not be paying attention to what our body may be trying to communicate to us through them. So I really appreciate that expansion. And listeners, as we get ready to go to our next break here, I encourage you to use these 2 minutes to really reflect on what Sue has shared, some of her story, and really feeling into and even asking body, what are you telling me? What should I be paying attention to? And just take the next couple minutes to feel in and see. And we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you found out some interesting things as you took a moment to stop and listen to what your body is saying to you and where that information is showing up, where there's some of that tightness or pain or discomfort in different areas. And that can be really great information to lean into and listen to and be able to help you clue into what is and isn't on track for your destiny. And I'm also curious, Sue, as we reflect on what we discovered when we felt in, is there an opposite as well, that something that feels really great in our body? Is that also important information? And do we tend to feel things in our body or in our spirit or visually, like when you were describing, you felt it in your body and it kind of flowed up and out, and then you saw had visual experience as well. So I'm just curious, as people are reflecting on what they discovered, what they can do with that, and how does that help them move forward? And are there things that feel good too, maybe, that we should pay attention to?
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca. Great question. So this, when you feel great, it's sometimes a feeling of release. It's like your stomach lets go, and relaxes, or your breath lets go. One of the things that I tell people a lot in client sessions is we get to a point where they're experiencing some distress, and I say, take a deep breath. Really take a deep breath, because you've stopped breathing. And when you stop breathing, you cannot think. You cannot process things. So one of the ways to actually install a good feeling is just take a deep breath, which is what I was delighted to see you doing at the beginning of the show, hearing you to have us take a lovely deep breath. Like, yes, receive that oxygen. It does such good things for your brain and the rest of your body. Breath, noticing that your shoulders go down, and spontaneous laughter. This is one of the great things, and it's actually something where if you're feeling kind of down or you're not feeling very good, finding something that makes you laugh is phenomenal. I just can't say enough about it. Find a comedy channel and go listen to some really good comedy, or find a joke book, or something that brings up laughter, because that helps you breathe. It relaxes your stomach, it relaxes your shoulders, and allows you to have good feelings.
Beautiful. I love that. And I think it's so interesting paying attention to what our body is saying, because I think so often we look at it as symptoms and then we try to treat the symptoms rather than maybe seeing what that information is telling us and being aware and feeling into that. So I really appreciate us getting that opportunity today to feel in a little bit. And I love how we can even shift how we're feeling by choosing to bring things into our life that bring joy or laughter, and remembering to take those deep breaths, especially when we're feeling tight and constricted or stuck, that can then really, really help shift things in powerful ways. And so talking about shifting things a little bit, we've talked about physically how to do some of that with the breath and with the laughter and trying to relax a little bit more, that those are ways to kind of help shift our bodies. What about our thoughts? How does this tie into how we're feeling about things, maybe what's driving us, choices? How does that tie into things?
Oh, this is lovely. Rebecca, can I share my 3-step process of getting over negative thoughts?
Absolutely. I'd love it.
This is my favorite thing, one of my favorite things to teach people. So this came out of my own pain. I was having a really difficult time with a relationship breakup. And, with relationships, you tend to think about the person a lot, right? And you go over and over and over what I call the squirrel thoughts. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over. You're having the same thoughts that just go in circles, right? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about a relationship. It could be about a job. It could be about something that you witnessed or experienced with, another driver on the road or somebody at the grocery store. It really doesn't matter. But when you find those thoughts going over and over and over and over and over, what I was told, and what many of you listeners may have heard, and Rebecca, you may have even heard this, just think about something happy. Well, no. I'm here to tell you it doesn't work because of the way our brains are wired. This is neuroscience, and I love it. So when you have had thoughts over and over again, and you've literally worn a rut in your brain with these thoughts, the nerves in your brain, the dendrons in your brain actually start to clump together because your brain wants to be really efficient. So it takes all of the thoughts and all of the feelings and it clumps them together and it makes a nice little package. So every time you think of the person, this whole package triggers. And what my process does is help you break up the package so that you don't get all of that, and it allows you to move forward. So if you notice, and that's always the first part, you notice that you're having these thoughts. You notice that you're having these repetitive thoughts going on and on and on and on. What I tell people is when you notice them, instantly think of something neutral, utterly neutral. And what I like to use is a door hinge. Because almost nobody has feelings. Maybe carpenters. But door hinges are pretty emotionally neutral to most people, the vast majority of people, right? So when you notice the thoughts, you think about a door hinge. What color is it? Is it brass? Is it painted? Is it steel? How big is it? Is it a big honking door hinge like on a bank vault? Is it a little tiny one that's on, a little music box? What kind of hinge is it? Is it bright? Is it colorful? Does it open well? Does it squeak? If you were to do something weird and even taste it, what would it taste like? Get into that door hinge for at least a minute. 2 to 3 minutes is better. Think about nothing but the door hinge. Then think of something happy. I like to think of a rose or a sunset or babies laughing or a positive experience that I've had. And then you can bring in the happy thought. This works magic. And people have reported back to me that they have stopped having the recurring negative thoughts within 24 hours, and it's permanently gone.
Is that because it just lessens and neutralizes the charge or the package, like the charge is gone?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. And it's literally broken up the dendrons in the brain from being a package. And the brain doesn't want to do any more work than it has to. It's really efficient. So once you go, oh, I'm having this negative thought. I just had this horrible argument with my boss. My boss obviously hates me. Oh, my God, da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, wait, I'm having that thought. Okay, door hinge. I'm thinking about the door hinge. Here's the door hinge. It's this door hinge. It's brass. It's this. It would taste like that. Da-da-da-da. And you can literally feel your body start to let go of the tension. And then when you go to the happy thought that you spend a minute or up to 3 minutes on the happy thought and the happy picture, you literally feel your body it feels so good.
Oh, I love this. How powerful that is, and to be able to shift something in such a short amount of time and dismantle it like that is truly powerful. So thank you for sharing that. I hope everyone, you can always rewind on the replay and walk through that process and exercise again, but really having that hinge that you go to and maybe even noticing something new about it as you're going through that kind of dismantling, neutralizing process. And then a go-to happy places, happy thoughts are great as well.
Yes. And I recommend that people set those up ahead of time. Decide what your hinge, if it's going to be a hinge, it's a hinge. But if you decide it's going to be something else, that's your thing.
Yep.
Make sure you know what it is ahead of time, because you cannot go, oh, I'm really mad at my boss or my coworker, and okay, what was that thing I was supposed to think about again? And then you're just going to go right back to the boss.
Yep. So really having that plan ahead of time.
Right. And the happy thoughts, too.
I love it. So I'm actually going to have us go to a break right now. I think this is like a perfect moment to do that and have our listeners take these 2 minutes to kind of make a couple of lists of whether it's the hint, your go-to when we're in that kind of triggered space, not if, when it happens. So what's our go-to thing? Hinge. And then a second list of the things that make you smile or happy. Maybe it's the champagne bubbles bubbling up or rainbows, whatever it is. Making a list so that you've got that prepared for when those things happen, so you have a go-to plan in your toolbox. So let's take these next 2 minutes to make a couple lists, and when we come back, we'll have even more tips and insights from our amazing guest. Enjoy these 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed making those 2 lists, and what a great thing to add to your toolbox, so that next time we start having those repetitive thoughts and kind of spinning in that circle, your go-to, it's the hinge. Let me think about the hinge and the texture and the color and the scent and the noise and just kind of what is that? And then your go-to happy thought that you can reflect on and visualize and see. So I encourage you to carry those with you, have those in your toolbox, whether it's physically carrying it with you or you just have it somewhere where you can access it quickly when you are in that place of feeling triggered or kind of spinning in that repetitive cycle. So really, really powerful tips that Sue has shared with us today. And then there were a couple more things we wanted to make sure that we addressed and brought forward in this area as well, as we are looking at stepping into your destiny, really living on purpose and with purpose, stepping into the new year powerfully, mindfully, and purposely. And one of them is understanding a little bit of where some of these things come from, some of these thoughts, some of these things that are triggers for us. Sue, I'd love for you to share a little bit of where that comes from, because I think that also helps us dismantle them a bit too.
Right. Yes, absolutely, Rebecca. This is a big thing for people, because sometimes they come out of left field and you don't know where they came from. And it's like you're having these reactions and you don't know why. And for many of those, it's because you've inherited those reactions from your family. You may not remember it. You may not know that you were conditioned to it, or that you literally inherited the reaction through your DNA. There's a lot of research going on right now that sometimes we can have emotional reactions to situations that we've never been in, but our ancestors did have. And they were traumatized, and we inherit the reaction to whatever that trigger was. And we have no idea where it's coming from. It's a fear reaction, where fear is not just false evidence appearing real. It's real evidence. It's just not yours. And so the acronym that I like is forgetting everything's all right. And recognizing if you have a reaction that it may not be yours, if you're stuck in something that you don't understand, it may not be you. It might be something that you got from somebody else in your family, and it can be cleared. It could be let go of. It could be released, like those champagne bubbles.
So powerful. And so how do we maybe recognize if this is us or isn't us? And do they get help releasing it? What do we do with that information that we decide, oh, this isn't me, but I'm reacting this way, or I'm observing this pattern, I need support. What do we do with that? Where do we go?
Well, if it's safe, you can go back to your family and say, wow, I'm having this reaction. Was this something that happened to somebody in the family? And if that's not available to get clarity on that, you can go to a hypnotherapist, for instance, or me, for instance. I do a technique called biofield tuning, which clears those kind of reactions and traumas out of your system, and you don't even need to know what they were or where they came from. They're just gone. They just don't show up anymore, and you don't have those reactions. And you get incredible clarity from that.
And is this something that is in person? Is it virtual? What works most effectively and best for getting that kind of support?
It is both in person and virtual. I have been doing virtual sessions for the last 2 years. They work just great. My clients adore it. Yes, I love being in person, of course, and it works just fine virtually.
Okay. Oh, I love that. So if we notice and we're just kind of getting stuck and this keeps coming up, we can get help, and we don't even have to understand the why or where it came from. It can just be gone, removed from our field, which is great. So I'd love to have you share your contact information for those that are like, wow, I would love that support. They feel a resonance with you, or they'd like to learn more and explore more, connect with you. What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, you can send me a message on Facebook if you or Instagram, and just mention Rebecca's show. So that I know that you're not, what do they call it, a stalker? Something like that. I'm Sue Wilhite. You'll see me. I've got my thumbs up on both of my profile pictures there. And you'll see that I've still got the banner from the wonderful book that Rebecca helped publish. That's the #1 bestseller. Which was Empowered Self-Healing, which was great. Fabulous book. You should get that too. That's a great way to help yourself. Or you can look at my website, which is sweetsoundofsuccess.com. Again, that's sweetsoundofsuccess.com.
Perfect. So they can go to your website. They can reach out to you on Facebook or Instagram. Is there a connection button on your website as well, or is it best to connect through Facebook or Instagram?
There is a Facebook button on my website at the very top right. Okay. But I haven't put my Instagram up there yet. I'm actually redoing that particular little menu. So I got to get Instagram and LinkedIn up there.
Okay, but there's a cheat sheet. If they go to your website, they can click on the Facebook and send you a message that way, and they'll know they have the right Sue that they are reaching out to, which is great. Well, thank you, Sue. I so appreciate you spending time with us today. I know this is the holiday season. Thank you for your great tips and insights and tools to really help empower people and stepping forward into their purpose and their destiny. I appreciate you joining us today.
Well, thank you, Rebecca. If we can get people into 2022 being empowered, knowing that they can do their destiny, what's right for them. You all out there in the listening audience, that is your goal for 2022. Be you and be a really successful you.
Beautiful. I love it. Listeners, I want to thank you for joining us today. I want to encourage you at the end of the show to take a couple minutes for you. Take that deep breath. really look at what is ahead for today and for 2022, and just take a couple moments to process what has been shared with you today and what are some actions you can take as a result of what you got to hear and have poured into you today, because it's definitely, this show is for you. And I know that there was something here for you today, and I want to give you an opportunity to integrate it, to process it. And you can do that in those 2 to 3 minutes. So really take that time for you. And then I want to encourage you, as you are stepping forward in 2022 and beyond, to do so mindfully, to do so purposely. One of the biggest gifts you can give the world is more of you. So be willing to share more of you. Be willing to bring more of the dimensions of who you truly are to more people. Stretch a little bit out of your comfort zone to be really easy to find and connect with those who need more of you. Be willing to share and shine out in that way. If we can support you in your journey in any way, we're honored to do so. You can always reach out to us at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Again, that's yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. You'll find resources there, ways you can set up a time to connect and chat. And I want to just thank you for being on the journey, for celebrating 2021 and looking forward to 2022 with all of you. Have an amazing New Year's, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you shine in 2022 and beyond.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter, next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Empowerment Channel, with a replay on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Variety Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.